The summer of 1975 should have been quiet. Gregory Peck was 59 years old, vacationing in France with Veronique. The Riviera light catching the silver in his hair. No films in production, no contracts pressing. Wait. Because what happened on June 26th would become the dividing line of his life, the before and the after he would carry in silence for every remaining year. The phone call from California lasted less than 3 minutes. His eldest son, Jonathan, 30 years old, had been found in his Santa Barbara home. A self-inflicted gunshot wound. No note. No warning his father had heard. Have you ever received news so large that the world stopped making its ordinary sounds? Gregory Peck did not shout. He stood in a French room long after the line went quiet, and Veronique would later describe only the sound of his breathing, slower, more deliberate, like a man choosing breath by breath to remain standing. He would say later, "The thing that haunts me is that if I had been in Los Angeles, Jonathan would certainly have called me that sentence. The call that never came would live in him like a splinter impossible to remove." The flight back across the Atlantic took 9 hours. He sat with hands folded in his lap the entire time, not sleeping, not reading. He had spent his career playing men who knew what to do when the moment demanded action. This was the country where logic had no jurisdiction. 2 years of silence followed. He turned down everything carried the question every parent who has lost a child this way carries. What did I miss? And when? And would it have mattered if I had seen it? Then in late 1975, a script arrived that most serious actors would have dismissed, a horror film about a diplomat who unknowingly raises the Antichrist. William Holden had declined the role. Charlton Heston had refused it. The project had circled Hollywood before reaching Gregory Peck, and something surprised even those who knew him well. He said yes. Director Richard Donner would explain it plainly years later. Peck's son had just died and he needed to get back to work. That there was more than Abe Gregory had read the screenplay, not as horror, but as something else. Robert Thorne was a father who had looked at his child every day and failed to see what his son had become until it was too late. He accepted a significant pay cut, $250,000 against 10% of the gross, and flew to London in October of 1975. On the flight over, lightning struck the plane. Have you ever noticed how grief and coincidence can seem to belong to the same country? The production accumulated events the press called a curse. Planes struck by lightning. A charter aircraft booked for Peck crashing and killing everyone aboard. An IRA bombing near a restaurant where the producers had planned to dine. But Gregory Peck stood in the middle of all of it with the same measured stillness. Jaw set, voice dropping to the register of a man who has already absorbed the worst. He was playing a father who lost his child. Every day behind the camera, he was also Gregory Peck, who had The Omen opened in June of 1976 and became one of the year's highest-grossing films. Critics noted something in his performance, a weight, a bewilderment, a grief carried just beneath every scene that made Robert Thorne feel true in ways the script did not require. That quality had not been invented, it had been brought from France, from a phone call from 9 hours above an ocean with folded hands. Do you remember a time when you understood, watching someone, that what you were seeing was real? He never explained it publicly. He was a private man about private things. He had used the only language left available. Stood on a soundstage in Surrey in the winter of 1975 and let what he knew about loss do its work. He would say simply, years later, You never get over a thing like that. You carry it. This is what Hollywood once meant. Not spectacle, but the capacity of its best artists to transmute private devastation into something an audience could feel and not feel alone. Gregory Peck never gave a speech about why he took that role. He just did the work. And thousands of people who had no idea what had happened in Santa Barbara sat in theaters and felt, without knowing why, that what they were watching was true. If you remember when actors were allowed to be human, when they carried their sorrows into their craft, share this with someone who understands that enduring art is made from the hardest materials. Subscribe to keep these stories alive. And tell us in the comments, has a performance ever made you feel you were watching something real? Every memory matters.